This is the control panel for the Otto keg washer, and we don't actually have any solution in it now. The reservoirs are empty, which is why it has a lower temperature on here. But one thing you could do is set the temperature control. And a lot of people think that this is how to set the temperature. It's actually how to set only the alarm. To set the temperature on the unit, you have to use this rheostat that's on the, which I have turned off right now, but that's actually how you set the temperature of the caustic reservoir. This is an alarm so that if your soap is calibrated for, let's say, 130 degrees, and you don't want it to let you wash kegs if the temperature goes below that, you can set that for whatever you want. So you basically touch here, you can type in the temperature you want it to alarm and lock you out. So let's say you're using soap that's not supposed to work below 130. So you set it at 130, but you set the rheostat at 140. That way the system is maintaining, but if something happens, for some reason you get some cold water in there, or maybe you're washing a lot of kegs and it's cold in the brewery and the keg washer gets colder and it goes below the effective range of your soap, the system will lock you out if you so choose. You can also bypass it. Right now it's enabled, but I turned the temperature way down. This is the home screen for automatic mode, and all you literally need to do is push start, and it will run through your entire keg washing program. To set up your program, you go to this screen. Our newer versions, this is actually a really old keg washer, and we actually have a few more rinse steps in there now. If at any point you don't want a step to happen, you just put a value of 0, and the computer will skip right over it. But if you want to use the step, you put a value in, and that's in seconds. And this is the one that we're using at our own brewery, Crawford Brewworks in Bettendorf, Iowa. Step 1 is keg pressure purge to drain. So that's just simply going to open the drain and drain whatever material is in the keg out. Step 2, compressed air purge to drain. It's going to add compressed air and force anything that's in the keg to the drain. Step 3 is adding water. The drain is still open, but it's rinsing the keg. Step 4, compressed air purge to drain. So it's now going to use compressed air to force out any water that might remain in the keg. Step 5, caustic rinse to caustic return. This is where it's actively circulating caustic throughout the keg. Step 6, compressed air purge to caustic return. It's going to use compressed air to force the caustic back into the caustic reservoir. Step 7, water rinse to drain. The drain's open. It's rinsing any caustic residue out of the keg. Compressed air purge to drain. Step 8, it's going to force any of that water out. Step 9, sanitizer rinse to sanitizer return. It's now using, obviously, the sanitizer reservoir. It's circulating it. This time we're going to use CO2 to purge and push that sanitizer back into the reservoir. And then step 11 is CO2 pressurization. So you can change these just by hitting them, and you can type in whatever value you want. This is our file manager. You can actually save up to 3 different recipes. Here he's got 6 barrels, half barrels, and he's not using sequence 3. I joke that, if you rent kegs, often they're really, really dirty, so you can have like a special cycle that's got a longer wash on it. So there's up to 3 of those. There's also the manual functions where you can fire any solenoid on the skid. You can turn the pumps on. You can do whatever you want manually. This is especially useful if you get a keg back from an account and it's still got a couple gallons of beer in it. You can put the keg on. You could open up the drain, and then you could turn on the compressed air. You could turn off the compressed air. You could turn on some water. Maybe the water's taking too long to drain out. You can turn on the air again to blow it out. And then you could close it up, back out, and then you can just hit start and run a keg cycle. The strobe light on the top will start blinking when you get to this step, step 10. That just lets you know that you've got a little bit of time left and you can run another cycle. Some of the other items on the keg washer are the regulator for the CO2. So your CO2, this one's actually damaged now that I notice it, but you can set this at the pressure of your bright tank. The goal is to have kegs at equilibrium with your bright tank. So you can put your your CO2 from your bulk CO2 system in here. Let's say that's coming in at 30 or 50 pounds, whatever. Set this at probably 15, which is what your bright tank is probably set at. And that way when you're filling kegs off of your bright tank or your unit tank, the beer is neither flying into the keg nor is it pushing CO2 from the keg back into the fermenter. You're going to hook up water and you're going to hook up compressed air. I usually recommend a air compressor no smaller than 26 gallons. We like to recommend the Cobalt Quiet Tech. It's around $300 from Lowe's, and that one works well. Set that at about 30 PSI. You could probably go a little higher than that if you needed to, but not much. It's also important that your water that you're hooking up is from a regulated pressure. So, anywhere, just regular municipal water pressure is fine, but we've had customers put unregulated water pressure, in excess of 100 PSI, and that causes other problems. When you're running the pumps for the very first time of the day, that is, you'll want to use these bleeder valves and make sure that you bleed any air out just onto the floor. This is the drain, and it comes out somewhat violently, so you'll want to put that down into the drain and put something heavy on top of it. And then this is the overflow. If anything comes out of there, it won't come out of there super violently, so you can just put that down into the drain. And then on the bottom there are ball valves for the caustic and the sanitizer reservoirs, and those just drain with gravity, and you can roll the unit over a trench drain or you can put a hose on there.